The FV215B183 is a Tier 10 British Tech Tree tank destroyer. It is the most popular Tier 10 in the game, and no matter how many times I'll plead for people to stop using this vehicle, it's not going to change the fact that people still will. So, instead, I'm going to make a tutorial on how to play better in the FV215B183. We're going to be talking about equipment and how to play the vehicle itself. First of all, let's break into my ammunition loadout. I have 5 AP and 10 HESH shells. When it comes to firing AP and HESH, you need to realize who you're shooting at. If you're a player that's just going to shoot HESH at everything, you're actually going to do way worse than a player that understands what it's shooting at. For example, I know frontally there's no way I'm HESH penning an E3. I'm not going to fire a HESH shell at him. I'm going to fire an AP shell to his lower plate if it's showcasing and deal 930 damage instead of 450. If you're going to fire HESH at everything, you might as well go play an Object 263 or a Badger and just have way more DPM because you're actually going to be, dealing that damage as your standard rolls. So make sure that you're only firing HESH at opponents that you know you can penetrate with a HESH shell. More importantly, you should also be running Refined Gun on this vehicle. This is not a tank that you should be moving a lot in. It's a vehicle you should be staying very far back and making sure that your shots are fully aimed in before you fire. One shell from this vehicle is worth 3 shots from your average medium, meaning that if you mess up that shot when you could have just aimed in longer, yeah, that can actually be a huge detriment to your team. You could be losing heavy flank, pen 1 HESH shell from a 183 and absolutely change the outcome of a battle. And that's why you also want to run Enhanced Gun Laying Drive, obviously get better aiming time, and you need to run Cali. If you're running Rammer on a 183, honestly, I don't even know what you were thinking. There's not much of an argument to state there. It's just, why would you do that? This is a tank that solely relies on penning single shots. And if you are sacrificing that penetration to deal more damage per minute, even though you're not penning as many shells, that literally makes 0 sense in any brain. So, with that aside, the number one thing you should do when learning any vehicle is talking about its strengths and its weaknesses, and therefore applying those into the battle. So what is the strength of the 183? Well, it's really just the gun. It's the fact that it has huge alpha, and it's also got really good pen. You can use that alpha to stop the enemy from pushing aggressive. That's one thing that is great about the 183, is it can do a fantastic job of holding a flank, down to the fact that nobody wants to push it. But you do need to keep in mind that while you can hold that flank, it does not mean that you're going to win that flank, because as soon as you shoot, it gives every player that wants to the opportunity to absolutely push you. So that's something you have to be extremely careful about when using the 183, is who you're shooting at. We already saw a bush fall down over here, and that means somebody's probably, yeah, exactly, a TVP is going to poke that. Now, I was kind of hoping I could get there a little faster, but it turns out that unfortunately we were not able to. We got the Progetto off to the side. I'm going to aim, and, well, we didn't pen it. Unfortunately, it seems like that shell just went a little bit off to the side, but that is still 500 damage right there, which is actually a pretty dang nice chunk. And again, now this Progetto probably doesn't want to poke us all too much. Well, I mean, the Progetto, I don't even know what that guy's doing. I'm going to be real. What we're going to do is play smart. Now that I have a shell loaded, I can basically stop this TVP from poking. If this TVP pokes, the player loses 1300 health. We've been able to give our team the opportunity of just winning that side, which is great. We know that the Yag's off to the other side, and I know that if the 183 is sitting off in that bush, it cannot shoot me. So we are in a pretty solid situation at this current time. The Bat Chat looks to be flanking. I'm not too worried about the Bat Chat right now, as we do have our Bat Chat as well back there. So instead what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be heading over towards this E100. We're going to see if I can get maybe a nice shot in. We do have, obviously, very, very nice opportunities to clear him, although it looks like that E100 just jumped off the cliff. We also got the Yag Panzer over here, and, well, I'm trying to figure out what we want to do, because the Yag does have a lot of alpha, but so do we, which means that we can head a nice shell into the Yag. There you go, 922. Now, the thing about the 183 is, obviously, you don't need to deal that much, or pen that many shells, should I say, to make a big impact, because, 3 pens from a 183 is enough to basically win a battle. It's 3,000 damage on your part, which is more than most people do in Tier 10 as it is. So we got the Bat Chat. There you go. 585. Again, not a pen. But because we were able to take 585 off that player already, I mean, that Bat Chat's a goner. Well, I was going to say a goner, but unfortunately our T110E4 missed a fairly easy shot. But at this point, we're still doing okay. We've got all the vehicles on the enemy team in mid. We got the Yag, we got the 100, the 60 TP, and what I'm going to be doing is hopefully pushing on this 60 TP. I'm a little worried, but at the same time, at this point, our team's done a pretty solid job. There's the 60, and there you go. Max roll 1,500 damage into his tank, and we come out with a victory of 3,600 damage. This is a very easy example of how I stayed back, I didn't play too aggressive, and we were able to deal not only over 3,000 damage, but come out with a victory. The 183 can do very good things like this. Now, obviously, it didn't really matter at the end when we shot that 60. We would have won anyway. But, for example, the shot on the Batchat and the Progetto. Those were two pretty nice shots, because even though they didn't pen, we were still able to deal 600 damage with both of them. Now, it is unfortunate that they didn't pen, because honestly, both of those should have and could have very easily. The Progetto turret is incredibly weak, and that's also the same for the Batchat turret. Now, Castilla is a perfect example of a map that is either very good for the 183 or very bad. Let's take a look at the enemy lineup. They have a V4 and they have 2 Grill 15s. They only have 1 heavy, they have a mouse, and they have 3 mediums. Our team has 3 mediums as well. We have 2 lights or not 2 lights, we have 1 light, and then as well you can also see 2 mediums. So in this battle, it is very easy to make the inference that we're going to have to deal more with mediums than we're going to have to deal with heavies, which is why instead of playing the 183 on this ridge here, do not drive the 183 on that ridge when you see there's a lot of mediums, because what you're doing is you're basically saying, okay, rush me, basically spot me on the hill, absolutely nuke me, and then I'm stuck there. So don't drive a 183 up that hill. In fact, don't drive most TDs up that hill when there's only 1 heavy. Instead, what we're going to do is I'm going to start driving towards most likely mid. I think that's a pretty good spot, because, for example, if our VK90 spots anybody on C hill, let's say that mouse does decide to go on the hill, then we will have the opportunity to get a nice shell out. If anybody decides to drive into B, we will also have the opportunity to nuke that player. But even better than that, we can continue driving towards their spawn the quickest way possible while having the most cover. That means if any vehicles try driving around our teammates on the side of this bank here, they will be absolutely demolished. And that is the smart way to drive a 183. So first things first is I'm going to try and, well, capture this base. I think that's a pretty smart idea. This Object 268 version 4 does not know we are here. And if he pulls any forwards, we're going to absolutely nuke him, which it looks like he did right there. There you go, 1,205 damage. As I said, any player that positions their vehicle in mid, and if you play it smart, you can just absolutely nuke them. Now, keep in mind that that V4, even if it was facing frontally towards me, still would have probably been demolished. Now we've got the Progetto over here, and because I played this tank in mid, this Progetto basically has no spot to back up, which means that's just a free 1,100 damage. Now, unfortunately, they do have some sort of tank destroyer, which is the grill in the back, but even then, I mean, I think we won that trade if you were to ask me, which is a pretty solid trade at that. We got 4 more seconds left, and now we're going to load in a standard AP shell. Here we go. Oh, there's the mouse, and let's just pen him once. We can back up. Now, the great news is that even though at this point we're probably going to die, this mouse can physically not kill us with a standard shell. And we're just going to keep on backing up. We're going to keep on backing up. Hopefully this mouse bounces us, but even if he doesn't, it doesn't really matter at this point to me, because we have the opportunity. Well, I was going to say to hesh him. Oh, I really wanted to hesh him, but it's all fine. We still did 847 damage right there. And I'm not sure, I wonder if we can actually just play this really smart and just drive off the cliff here. Oh my, I cannot believe we are actually going to survive possibly against this mouse. So now what we're going to do is sit right here and, well, let's see. Come on, mouse. Oh, he's not even looking at me. Never mind. I'm just going to drive up the hill. And, boop, there you go. So this is a good game. Again, I played the 183, as you can see, in a smart position, where I knew the enemy mediums, if I were sitting on that hill, could have had the opportunity to nuke me. I know where the mediums are going to be. Looking at a map like Castilla, I obviously know that the mediums are going to be somewhere towards the medium side, obviously. And if our mediums did what they did and pushed them down the hill, I had the just undivided opportunity to just drive out and nuke that Progetto. And then that mouse, it was also very clearly easy to tell that that mouse was going to be too slow to really push anywhere. So the mouse went towards mid and just got, again, absolutely badonkered by me. We were able to take off in total 2,200 hit points from that mouse. I mean, that's a lot of damage. We took 1,100 off the Progetto and 1,200 off the 268 version 4. Overall, the 183 can be an incredibly influential tank, but it's all down to how you read the enemy lineup and how you position the vehicle. So hopefully this helped you a little bit. Do not frontline in a 183. You shouldn't. Both of those games, as you noticed, I was midlining. You do not frontline. That is a stupid idea. Do not put the 183 in a spot where as soon as you fire, you're stuck out in the open and you will die. You will throw games for your team. Play the vehicle in a fairly common sense spot that has a lot of cover, that has the opportunity to take advantage of the misplays by the enemy team. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.